Today we're talking about filling a rented apartment with plants without spending real money on it. You know the feeling. You walk into your place and it's beige, it's bare, and you can't paint the walls or drill a single hole. So you buy one nice plant, you spend $30 on it, and 3 months later it's brown and you're out the cash. And there's this quiet voice in your head saying, why invest in a place that isn't even yours? These 5 plants change that completely. Every one of them roots from a free cutting, grows fast enough to actually fill space, and multiplies into more plants you can spread across every room you've got. Before we get started, if you're enjoying this content, hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Number 1. Pothos. The vine that swallows a room. Botanically, it's called Epipremnum aureum, and that's a mouthful. So just say Pothos, and everybody knows what you mean. Here's a fact that surprises people. In its native range in the South Pacific, Pothos climbs trees, and the leaves get enormous, like 2 feet across. In your apartment, it stays small and trails. And that's not a failure, that's just what it does without a tree to climb. Why it's perfect for renters is simple. A single cutting with 1 leaf and 1 node will root in a jar of water on your windowsill. No rooting hormone, no equipment, nothing to buy. And once it takes off, one plant can put out 6 to 10 feet of vine in a year. That's enough to run along a curtain rod or drape off a bookshelf and make a whole corner feel finished. The look is that classic heart-shaped leaf, about 3 to 5 inches long. Golden pothos has yellow splashes. Marble queen is heavily streaked with cream. Neon pothos is a bright chartreuse green that glows in a dark room. Jade pothos is plain deep green and honestly the toughest of the bunch. Care is simple. It'll take bright, indirect light or a dim hallway, and it keeps going either way, though the variegated ones lose some of their pattern in low light. Water when the top inch feels dry, which usually lands around every 7 to 10 days. It's happy anywhere between 65 and 85 degrees, and normal apartment humidity is fine. No misting required. One thing to watch for: yellow leaves near the base almost always mean too much water, so back off and let the soil dry. Brown crispy edges mean the opposite. It went bone dry too long. Neither one kills it. Money-saving tip. A 4-inch pothos runs about $8 to $15 at a big box store, but you probably don't need to buy one at all. Ask a coworker or a neighbor with a pothos for a 6-inch piece of vine. Cut just below a node, that little brown bump where a leaf meets the stem, drop it in water, and you'll have roots in 2 weeks. One person's plant can supply your entire apartment. Number 2. Heartleaf Philodendron, the softer cousin. Philodendron heteroecium. People mix this one up with pothos constantly, and here's the actual difference. Pothos leaves feel thick and slightly waxy with a little pucker to them. Philodendron leaves are thinner, softer, and they come out of the stem wrapped in a papery sheath. Once you see that sheath, you'll never confuse them again. For this topic, it earns its spot because it handles low light better than almost anything else that vines. If your rental has one north-facing window and a lot of shadowy interior wall, this is the plant that fills that space. It also roots faster than pothos in my experience, often showing white roots in 8 to 10 days. The leaves are a deep, glossy green, 2 to 4 inches long, in a true heart shape. Brazil is the variety with a lime green stripe running down the center. Micans has a velvety leaf that shifts from bronze to deep purple, depending on how the light hits it. Vines get 4 to 6 feet easily indoors. Care is easy, medium to low indirect light, and don't be afraid to stick it somewhere you thought was too dark. Water when the top inch feels dry, around every 8 to 12 days depending on your heat. It likes 65 to 80 degrees. Humidity is not a real concern. It does fine in dry winter apartment air. Leggy growth with big bare gaps between leaves means it wants a bit more light. And here's a care tip that saves you trouble. When it gets straggly, cut it back by 1/3. The plant gets bushier, and you now have 5 cuttings in your hand. Money-saving angle. Expect $10 to $18 for a small one, but every trim you make is a new plant, and this is the one I'd use to start trading. Root 3 cuttings, offer one to a friend, and ask what they've got. That's how a collection grows without a receipt. Number 3. Spider plant. The one that hands you babies. Chlorophytum comosum. Technically, these aren't stem cuttings, they're plantlets, but the effect is even better because the plant does the propagating for you. It sends out long stems with fully formed miniature plants dangling off the ends, sometimes a dozen at a time. You snip one off, and you have a whole new plant that's already got tiny root nubs on it. That's exactly why it belongs in a rental. You're not waiting on a cutting to decide whether it wants to live. You're getting a plant that's already halfway there. Hang one from a tension rod in a window frame, no drilling involved, and within a year, it's throwing out babies you can pot into every room. The leaves arch out in a fountain shape, about 8 to 16 inches long. Variegatum has a white edge with a green center. Vitatum reverses it with a white stripe down the middle. There's a solid green version that grows faster and a curly one called Bonnie where the leaves spiral. Care is straightforward. Bright, indirect light gives you the most babies, but it survives medium light without complaint. Water when the top inch feels dry, usually every 5 to 7 days since it drinks more than the vines. Keep it between 60 and 80 degrees. Here's the honest downside. Brown tips are extremely common on spider plants, and they're usually a reaction to fluoride and chlorine in tap water. The fix costs nothing. Fill your watering can and let it sit out overnight before you use it. You can also just trim the brown tips off with scissors, and nobody will ever know. Money-saving bonus. Around $12 to $20 for a hanging basket at a garden center. Get one time, and you're done buying spider plants forever. A mature plant produces 10 to 20 babies a season. Pot a few, gift a few, and hold a couple back to trade for something you actually want. Number 4. Tradescantia. Color without a light bill. Tradescantia zebrina. And you might hear it called wandering dude or inch plant. Here's the surprising part. Outdoors in warm climates, this thing is considered a weed. It spreads across the ground and takes over. That reputation is exactly what makes it such a gift indoors, because weeds are just plants that are very good at living. For a renter, this is your fastest fill. A cutting can root in 5 to 7 days in water. It grows several inches a month in good light. If you need a bare shelf to look full by next month, this is the one. And it's the only plant on this list bringing real color, which matters when you can't paint. Zebrina has purple undersides with silver bands on top. Nanook is pink, green, and cream. Purple Heart is a solid deep violet with no pattern at all. Stems trail 1 to 2 feet before they start looking thin, and that's your signal to cut them back. Care is moderate, and I'll be honest, this one asks a little more than the others. It wants bright, indirect light, or it fades to plain green and gets stretchy. Water when the top inch feels dry, roughly every 4 to 6 days, because the thin stems dry out fast. Room temperature is fine. One thing to watch for. Mushy stems at the base mean it stayed wet too long. Cut off the healthy top growth, throw the rest out, and reroot. The plant essentially resets itself, and you lose nothing but time. Money-saving benefit. Cuttings sell for $5 to $12 online, and a full pot might run $15 to $25. Skip that. Tradescantia is so common that people are genuinely relieved when you ask for a piece. Look at it in a friend's apartment and say you'd love a cutting. 4 inches of stem is all you need. Number 5. Snake plant. Upright, patient, and free eventually. Dracaena trifasciata, though you'll still see it sold under the old name, Sansevieria. Here's the myth I want to bust. People say it's the one plant that purifies your air, based on a NASA study from the 80s. That study was done in sealed chambers, and you'd need a jungle in your living room to move the needle. It's a wonderful plant. It's not an air filter. What it does give you is height, which nothing else on this list can do. Vines trail and spider plants arch, but a snake plant stands 2 to 4 feet tall in a floor pot and fills vertical space in an empty rental corner. It also handles the worst light in your apartment, and it forgives you completely if you travel or forget it exists. The leaves are stiff and sword-shaped, with gray-green banding. Laurenti has a yellow edge. Moonshine is a pale silver-green. Cylindrica grows in round spears instead of flat blades. Dwarf varieties like Hani stay under a foot for a desk. Care requires attention only in the sense that you have to resist helping it. Any light from a dark corner to a bright window. Water every 2 to 4 weeks in summer and every 4 to 6 weeks in winter, and let the soil go completely dry in between. It's fine from 60 to 85 degrees, and it actively prefers dry air. Soft, mushy leaves at the soil line mean root rot from overwatering, and it's the only real way people kill this plant. Wrinkled leaves that curl inward mean it's thirsty, which is rare and easy to fix. Money-saving reality. A floor-sized snake plant costs $25 to $45, and that's the priciest thing I'll mention today. So here's the play. Buy a small one for $10 to $15, or take a division from someone repotting theirs. Divisions are the trick with this plant. You pull it out of the pot, separate the clumps with your hands, and each clump is a full plant already. Leaf cuttings work too, but they take months, and the variegated types come back plain green, so divide instead. Now a few broader rules for making cuttings actually work, because this is where most people lose plants. Cut below a node, every time. That bump on the stem is where roots come from, and a cutting without one will sit in water looking fine for a month, and then rot. Use clean scissors, and use them at an angle so there's more surface exposed. Change the water once a week. That's it. That's the whole maintenance routine. Stale water goes low on oxygen and roots stall out. Fresh water once a week, and your success rate jumps enormously. Wait for 2 inches of root before you pot it up. Any shorter and the roots aren't ready to hunt for water in soil. And when you do pot them, put 3 or 4 cuttings in one container instead of one. You get a full-looking plant immediately rather than a lonely stem. And think about your lease when you choose containers. Skip heavy ceramic. Use nursery pots inside cheap baskets, or reuse yogurt containers with holes punched in the bottom. When you move, everything's light, nothing breaks, and you haven't put a single hole in a wall. So there you have it. 5 thrifty cuttings that fill a rented apartment for free. Pothos and Philodendron to soften your shelves. A spider plant that produces its own babies. Tradescantia for color you're not allowed to paint on. And a snake plant to hold down a corner. Start with 1 cutting from one friend. In a year, you'll be the person everybody else asks for cuttings, and you'll have done it without spending money on a place that isn't yours. All right, plant friends. If you found this helpful, subscribe to Plants Viso for more budget-friendly renter plant care. Drop a comment and let me know which room in your apartment feels the emptiest right now. And what topics would you like to see next? Hit that like button if you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and here's to filling every room you rent with plants that cost you nothing.